Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you are all keeping safe and well this day. Now, my name's Rattle44. I'm going to be talking about decision making in Apex Legends. Making the right decisions and making the wrong decisions. We all know that we can most definitely make the right decisions, win those fights, stay alive, and we can also make those really bad decisions where you push too early, you go for that revive, you go for the shots too early and miss and waste a load of bullets. There's loads and loads of things that can get you killed. But do remember in the meanwhile, of course, to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. But of course, let's get into the decision making right now and just try and cut out those little mistakes that will drive you crazy in the game. Now, you can see that in the background I am caustic, knowing that I'm not going to be affected by the gas and can still see. Of course, this gives me a chance to shoot one of the opponents down. Now, I would never recommend switching ideally to a G7 Scout to try and use it up at close. Lack of ammo in the Spitfire was the reason, but my friend Pickle Viper clutched it out, so they are dead and we're not. Now, in this clip, this shows me actually running a little bit ahead of my teammate. Although it isn't a great idea to split day apart a little bit, you don't want to literally leave your colleagues or your teammates too far, because of course they can get suddenly attacked unexpectedly. Now, in this particular instance, I try and shoot someone down, I kill one, but I get knocked down. Now, this puts us really a kind of a bad position, but again, luckily, my friend Pickle Viper manages to clutch it out, so it was worth the risk. And of course, I'm telling him to then heal up because of the storm damage. But, you know, in that kind of fight, luckily he clutched it out, but it could have been a different story. So it's really a case of being very careful and making those right decisions when it really matters. Such an easy thing to do and to get wrong. Definitely trust me on that one. Now, with the next clip, it's a prime example of this. So in this instance, I start off as Lifeline. We start off in Octane's Gauntlet. There's lots and lots of enemies. I managed to grab the purple body shield, which is awesome. And of course, I start trying to fire from the hip and trying to pre-fire it round. It didn't quite win me what I wanted, and of course then you get silenced. Now, the best thing I could do is to get out of that situation, because I realised that if I stay there, I am as good as dead, and my friend is already down as well. So I realised that I'm going to have to come around and just try and wear off that Revenant Silence Grenade, which actually pays off, because I literally wait here, I hear the reviving, I literally go for the revives and I kill one of them. Yeah, I could have waited for the second one, a decision that maybe is easy to look back and go, oh, I could have had 2 kills instead of 1. But, you know, at the end of the day, you just want to revive your friend, get what you need to, and literally go from there. So in this little clip, it is a prime example of, you know, my friend is still needing to heal. Over-looting is definitely a bad thing to do sometimes. Again, I'd always recommend to just make sure that there isn't tons and tons of squads around before you sort of search every single box, because it will most definitely get you killed. If you're trying to, you know, loot quickly, it isn't always going to do that. So yeah, so I mean, in this instance, you know, I realised that there are people up in this room. I pushed by myself, which again is really risky to do, and I would say that you always want to try and push as a team ideally. It is a little harder with randoms, but, you know, in this instance, I win out, great. But it could have been a different story, so it turns out to be the right decision. How close that could have been to not being. And this is the whole point with the game, is that, you know, if you're playing with friends, it's a little easier. If you're playing with randoms and you really are wanting just the kills rather than the wins, then of course it is very easy. If you've got especially an aggressive playstyle like myself, it is very, very easy to, of course, try and pick up everything, loot, try and pick up what you need, and so on there. Now, in this instance, this was a poor decision, because I then try and use an ultimate accelerant. Suddenly, we have another team shooting at us, and yeah, I then have to reload my gun, which I carelessly forgot. Definitely would recommend always making sure to reload your gun before going into a fight. Now, I do down this one, which is fine, and of course, being a Lifeline, you can get the revive, which is fantastic. However, this is where it's so easy to make a mistake. Thirsting for kills definitely can get you killed, and it can make definitely a bad decision there. Trying to fire an Eva from too far away, jumping across instead of getting my friend up and pushing, and this eventually led to my death. Silly decision, I kick myself for it. What can you do? You learn from it, trust me. Now, in this particular case, this is a little bit more like about being patient. And this was a game with actually a random on sort of like duos. Literally could hear them being shot at and things like that. Realised that they were sort of pushing. Literally took out the decoy, or threw out the decoy, managed to knock one down. Now, the easy thing to do is to jump down and, of course, try and finish them off, get your friend up room as a revive. But best thing doing is to heal, keep the decoy there. You know that one of the teammates or one of their teammates is down, so they know that they're going to be trying to either push for the revive or trying to push for you. Now, my teammate is actually pinged to sort of say, oh yeah, that's actually, there is someone there. And he goes for the revive. I'm like, right, okay, now you're an easy target. They're both dead. Thank you very much. Job done. Now you get the revive. That is what shows up as a great decision, and a decision that works very well. Now, this one is a prime example of how a decision at the start can go very well, and then through one bad decision or through one not so great decision from one of your teammates or just from yourself, how it can quickly change and it can turn from an advantage or an advantageous situation to a disadvantage. Unfortunately, we've all been here as well. Now, in an ideal world, we're all the perfect players, we make all the perfect decisions, but realistically, apart from maybe if you're a professional or extremely high level, we all make mistakes. I make lots of mistakes on Apex, and I'm constantly learning. I analyse a lot of time in my games, and I try to improve as a player. I think I've improved, certainly compared to how I was, if you take me to the beginning of the game or the start of the game, literally compared to now, I think I've improved greatly. But is there still more? Yes. And the answer is just to keep on looking at this data. If you can record certain things, it always helps. Now, my friend throws out a clutch silence grenade as Revenant. We down one, which is perfect. He actually got both of them, which was actually really, really good. I realise that the crypto's in the building, and I push and I kill him out because he can't use anything. His abilities are useless anyway, so that is pretty much it. Now, one of the big mistakes, over looting. A prime example, and we've all done this, you start getting, oh, like, okay, there's addicted to loot. We know that loads of people would have heard fire. There is only 3 squads left. At this point, I shouldn't be looting, and neither should my friend. My friend should be healing up his shield. I didn't notice because I was too busy looting. So instead of me telling him, heal up your shield, by the time that I noticed and realised that his shield was actually down, we were being attacked by another squad. And I said, right, okay, get your shield up, I'll cover you. And it led to a bit of a disaster. It didn't go well. I realised that they split off. Literally the 2 teammates pushed separately. I jumped up to try and get the one. I got hit pretty bad, and the other one pushed at the same time. And unfortunately, although my friend had healed up his shield, he had, of course, he was outnumbered and got killed. It's very, very easy to do. Now, a big thing on this game as well is height advantage. Now, 9 times out of 10, I would never recommend to, go onto level ground if you can get the height advantage. With railings in the way, it is a little more tricky. Realising that he was on his own, so a one-on-one fight, which is always the better thing to do. If you can pick off someone on a one-to-one basis, and you can get the first initial damage, like I did there, then you're in a good position. My friend silences the Pathfinder, I flank, he is absolutely in no position, he's going to die. And my friend kills him. Now, again, another prime example is overlooting. So I start overlooting. Luckily, my friend isn't, and he kills the other player as well. Job done. Right decision, wrong decision. My friend made the right decision there. I made the wrong decision. And it's really easy to do. I mean, this is probably the easiest thing. Overlooting. Literally overextending. Pushing when you shouldn't. Kind of trying to push people full on a front waist position rather than flank round the side. These are all easy things to do wrong and to get yourself, of course, killed. And let's face it, we've all been there. So with this particular clip, again, it's one of those things where you're just waiting around. We didn't actually know that anyone was about, to be honest. We're just literally just scouting out the area and so on. And of course, actually then my friend spots someone in the distance coming in from the storm in another direction. So he pings and says there's actually someone else. Now we are both on mic at this point, so it's a lot easier than with a random, but of course the pings are pretty handy, so it's definitely well worth taking note of them and being aware. Now of course in this particular instance I sort of run towards the building. I realise then that someone is running in the distance, and actually from this one occasion the Bloodhound actually didn't have a disadvantage. He actually had the height advantage. Now, I can't really honestly say what he was doing. He made a very bad decision. He peeked out, he got himself killed, and of course, job done. Now, like anything, immediately you want to loot. Now, I could have jumped down and actually picked up the purple shield that Bloodhound clearly had, but I didn't. I decided to just go for the heals. Literally now, you know that you can push. You know it's only 1 on 2. He's dead. Job done. The right decision. We won out. Now another one. So splitting too far away from your teammates when you land somewhere. This is probably one of the most common ones, and one that I make way too often. Firstly, you don't always want to be looting exactly the same area, because let's face it, this guy, I don't know what he was doing. He ran straight at me, and he died. I don't even know what that guy was thinking or doing. No question. Absolutely a terrible decision. Never do that. If you're going to land somewhere bad and then literally you haven't got much choice but to try and loot somewhere, don't go running towards someone with a gun, especially a Havoc. Now in this particular instance, my friend is down. I realise that, of course, that's one of those things. Instead of panicking and things, you're getting shot at. You've got to just try and hold your position. Thirsting for the kill can definitely get you killed, which it did nearly get me killed there. Backing off and healing up. Now, of course, yes, one of my friend is down, which is definitely a disadvantage. But you've got to try and stay calm on that one. And this time, of course, I remember to actually pick him up and like literally get the revive. Now, I realised that they're going to push for the revive. They didn't actually, strangely, which is funny. And they make a really funny decision because they jump off and they leap off the building. I don't know what they were doing. A prime example of what not to do. I'm sure that none of you are jumping off random buildings and all that, but however, a very, very poor one. Now this one is a great example of something that I did that I kicked myself for. There was enemies there, started firing, like giving my position away, which is fine. Should have moved much more than that. Instead, I get flanked and I get shot from the side. Now, in that instance, I actually got stuck between a crossfire because the other guy was shooting from the other side. Unfortunate, really. And my friend ends up trying to revive me, which he thought he could do it in the smoke, and he ends up getting killed. It's unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, like these are all prime examples of just things that you can try and cut out of your game. A lot of the time, as I say, if you are actually making mistakes and you can record some of your footage, watch it back. Sometimes just watching it back will make you realise what you're doing wrong, and it is really a very good idea. Now in this particular instance, of course, we push, we see one, we down them, brilliant. Pushing for the kill is really tempting, but actually the Bloodhound peers up, and of course he clearly hasn't got any shield. He's downed my friend, but I realised that rather than trying to get the revive, let's knock him down, kill him. He's low on health. He had no shield anyway. Now, rather than over-looting, I did quickly grab a couple of things, but of course then I go for the revive as quick as I can to get my friend back up, so that he can get back into the fight, pick up that Phoenix kit, and of course then we're back into a good position. Now with this one, this is a prime example of, again, just little things that you can so do right and you can so do wrong. Now we realise that there are people in Refinery. You can hear them, you can hear Bangalore's heavy footsteps. Unfortunately they see me, but that's just always the way. Heal up as quick as I can, fire out a decoy because I figure that it'll give me some time. Gets distracted and that's fine. And then of course I use my ultimate just to try and get some additional damage, shall we say, onto the enemies. Now I do manage to down the Loba, and I manage to then down the Bangalore as well. Fantastic. I back off, which is fine, but instead of like waiting until I was kind of in a better position, I heal up in the most obvious place where I was shooting anyway, and unfortunately the Wraith downs me straight away. Now it doesn't matter, luckily my teammate covers it, which is fine, and then I get revived. But in a different situation that could have got me killed, or could have just got the whole team killed. I mean, who knows? It's so easy just to make one decision. I should have backed off much further out. and I should have then revived or healed up, shall we say, as much as I could. So yeah, these are great key things. Now this one is a great example of trying to loot as quick as possible. There's lots of things going on. I've got literally no health, but you know, in this particular game mode that it was shot in, it was only shotguns and snipers anyway. I don't even know what these two were doing. I threw out a decoy to try and sort of like, you know, literally go for the revive. Revives are very risky. This could have definitely got me killed. Luckily, they shot my decoy. I reload, I go into my ultimate, and of course then we have two people now, and we managed to, between the two of us, kill them. Thank God, they're dead, we're not. Phew, what a relief. So, in this particular clip, this again is something that I would never recommend in general. Now, caustic gas. We all hate caustic gas. If you know that there's a caustic in a building, and you know that there is at least one or two other teammates, my recommendation is to probably not bother pushing, unless you know that, of course, your whole squad is going to push at the same time. And with randoms, that isn't always going to happen, unfortunately, so it is one of those things that you've really got to just kind of look at it and say, well, okay. Now, in this particular instance, managed to down one of them, but of course, the caustic gas, he threw the ultimate, can't see anything, managed to down them, and managed to get out just about. But could that have been the right decision? That could have got us all killed. Could have got me killed anyway. So yeah, so in this particular one, this is a prime example. So my friend Pickle Viper unfortunately landed separate from myself. He got downed because he wasn't able to get a weapon. I then have looted and I've managed to run across. Now, something I like to do sometimes is with Mirage is fire a decoy one way, which actually, ironically, they ignored. I don't even know what they were doing, and I managed to down both of them. I'm not sure what they were doing, but anyway, normally that would provide as a kind of a distraction, and of course would work in that respect. Now, the gold knockdown shield was exceptionally handy, actually, and I would say that that is definitely always a good thing to have. Not the best level 4 item to pick up, but, you know, sometimes on the odd occasion it can be clutch. Of course, over-looting can be a pain, and of course, forgetting about your teammate is also a very easy one to do. So do try and always remember to try and revive or recover your teammate's banner if need be. Now, I do see the Bloodhound in the distance. I start shooting. Can't hit every shot, unfortunately, because of the smoke. And then literally the Mirage comes out as well. Now, one of my bad choices was to try and get a kill with an RE45, only because I needed it for a challenge. Unfortunately, it rather got me knocked down. Now, the only good thing about this is that because I was in my ultimate, I was able to do the decoys. And of course, you know, literally, sometimes just being patient, timing with it, just literally like trying to get away. With Gold Knockdown Shield, it's really funny because, like, with Mirage, it works really well, but with other Legends, it doesn't so much. So, this particular one's a hard one to sort of maybe showcase with other Legends because, unfortunately, there wouldn't be decoys, there wouldn't be the bamboozling, and they wouldn't give you a chance to get away. Now, fortunately, on this particular occasion, I managed to crawl away, and I managed to, of course, actually revive myself, which is something of a miracle. So yeah, so these are the main sort of points that I want to make. Decision making is a very difficult one. I mean, when you're using a gold knockdown shield, are you far away enough from the enemies to do it? Is it really loud and very slow? Do you stay in the same position to heal? On this occasion, I did, but that could have been different. Pushing when you shouldn't have, that can definitely get you killed. Not pushing as a squad. Staying back and letting the other teammates push and being too far away. Over-looting, big one. Massive decision to definitely try and not over-loot. Try and prioritize, I'll say that correctly, exactly what you need. Because if you're taking too long and you're picking, like, oh, look at these shields, look at these things, look at this ammo, and things you don't need, someone can get the first attack on you. And try and pick fights on a one-to-one basis. It is generally much more successful and much better in that way. Now, the last clip that I'm going to talk about before I end the video is this one. If you are trying to sniper, which I don't do much myself, it was only because it was in shotguns and snipers or whatever it was called, staying still and snipering is a very bad idea because it will get you knocked down and killed, unfortunately, or, you know, in a bad position where, of course, you're not able to revive yourself. So I hope that you found the video informative. and useful, and maybe will help you improve on your decision making for the future games of Apex Legends. If you did like the content, please a like on the video really helps me out, and if you do want to subscribe for future content from me, I will be posting videos as regularly as I possibly can. But do remember to never stop moving, never stop believing, and stay Apex. But that is always it for me on this particular video. I will see you in the next one. You have a great rest of the evening, day or night. You take care. Cheers now. Bye bye.